Hello, my name is Ryan Ashkern, and welcome to the Sports News on CW57, your home for local high school, collegiate, and semi-pro sports right here in our area. This week we visit with Sauk Prairie High School, Madison Memorial, and much more. It's the Sports News, brought to you in part by the Red Zone. Now let's get you off the bench and into the game. With the NFL season underway, Vegas insiders have the Green Bay Packers at 6-1 odds to make Super Bowl 50. The Packers are only slightly behind favorites, the Seattle Seahawks, who are listed at 9-2 favorites coming off of 2 consecutive Super Bowl appearances. Other teams with favorable odds are the Indianapolis Colts at 8-1, the Philadelphia Eagles at 8-1, defending Super Bowl champion Patriots at 8-1, and the Denver Broncos at 9-1. On the other end of the spectrum, there are the Jacksonville Jaguars at 300-1 and the Tennessee Titans at 200-1. The rebuilding effort is underway in Milwaukee for the Brewers, and the crew took the next step late last week when they interviewed the Pittsburgh Pirates Director of Player Personnel, Tyrone Brooks. Brooks is 41 and in his 20th season in professional baseball, his 6th with the Pirates. Brewers owner Mark Atanasio had no comments on the GM search other than to say he would favor hiring someone who is comfortable with analytics and wants to have that person in place by the time the winter meetings start, which is December 7th. Other likely candidates for the job include Brewers Director of Amateur Scouting Ray Montgomery, Tampa Bay Rays Assistant GM Chaim Bloom, and Oakland Athletics Assistant GM Dan Kentrovitz. Current GM Doug Melvin is expected to move into an advisory role within the organization. According to CNN, New York City Police Commissioner William Bratton said he apologized late last week to former tennis star James Blake. Blake was mistakenly tackled and handcuffed by police in a sting operation that went wrong outside of a Manhattan hotel. Blake was the former number 4 ranked player in the world and was standing in front of the Grand Hyatt Hotel when he was tackled by a plainclothes police officer. He then spent 5 to 10 minutes with his hands cuffed behind his back before police realized that they had the wrong guy and left him go. Blake was waiting for a car to pick him up and take him to the U.S. Open tennis tournament, where he's doing corporate appearances. Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers and athletic apparel company Adidas have announced a new multi-year partnership. Rodgers will debut new cleats for Adidas this season, as well as collaborate on the future product development in footwear and clothing equipment. The two-time NFL MVP will join an Adidas roster that already has Philadelphia Eagles running back DeMarco Murray and Seahawks tight end Jimmy Graham. Terms of the deal were not released, but look for Rodgers to start appearing in Adidas marketing campaigns in the very near future. Making the most out of his return to the Packers, newly acquired wide receiver James Jones had a great day in Chicago as Aaron Rodgers found him for 4 passes and 51 yards, 2 of which resulted in a touchdown. The Packers won the season opener against their NFC North rival Chicago Bears 31-23. The 2014 MVP Aaron Rodgers went 18 for 23 with 189 yards and is now 13-3 against the Bears in his career. Next on the schedule for Green Bay are the Seattle Seahawks. Keep in mind that CW57 is your home for local high school football all season long. Join myself and Rich Reynolds for the A1 Furniture Bowl Series with games airing Saturday afternoon at 4 and Sundays at 1:30. This week we head to Middleton to cover the Cardinals and the Sun Prairie Cardinals in the Big 8 Bowl. We'll be right back with more of the sports news in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now we're joined by our friends from the Edgerton Volleyball team. We have Mike Schmidt, Kellen Schmidt, and Lacey Knott. Thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks for having us.
So talk to us a little bit about the team. What can we expect for this upcoming season?
Well, we have a very young team. We play in a very tough league, the Rock Valley North. And so far this year, we've had a great start to our season and a lot of returning players. So we're on the upswing.
And understand you guys have a younger team. So how are you able to grow and function as a cohesive unit to compete in what is a very tough conference?
Well, I think our players have been together a while. I'll let Lacey talk a little bit about how she feels about being a third-year starter on our team.
I feel it's gotten easier as you go along because you get used to playing with the people you're with and like you get to know them better and you get to know the other teams, so it's kind of an advantage.
And Coach, you mentioned that the team's been playing together for a while. Who are some of the key players? Who have some of the key attributes to make this a competitive team week in and week out?
Well, the two here, Kellen and Lacey, are part of our foundation. We have a few sophomores, Ashlyn Oren, who's an outside hitter who is very, very athletic, and Bethany Oren, they're not sisters, but Bethany's one of our middles and also a sophomore. And then our setter, Kathleen Riley, has played with the girls, growing up. So they've been together, and that core has helped us quite a bit this year.
Now, as far as the history of your program, how long have you been there? What is maybe the history of the Edgerton Volleyball program?
Well, I'm a basketball coach, and they asked me to coach volleyball 4 years ago. So this is my 4th year, and at the time they said, how about give us 2 years, give us 2 years. Well, I'm in 4 years now. So, but the history, Jason Knott was the coach, who is now a principal in another district. He got the program going, and they have won 3 or 4 championships under him. Just recently, we're now putting that championship team hopefully back together.
Now, as we're looking ahead for the rest of the season, who are maybe some tough opponents, and what does the rest of the season hold for you guys?
I think Kellen can help with who our tough opponents are.
East Troy is always a really tough one, being like state champs, and McFarland is always really tough. And Jefferson has always been difficult for us to beat, but just recently, last week, we beat them, so it's always really good.
And that's really important because we're getting the monkey off of our back. And we have a tough game Tuesday against McFarland. We want to get the monkey off of our back for that, and we've come a long way in getting some of the teams that have beaten us in the past.
Well, fantastic. Mike, Kaylin, and Lacey, want to thank you very much for joining us here on the Sports News today.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now we are joined by Madison Memorial head football coach Adam Smith. Coach, thanks for joining us here today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So some really nice things happening over at Madison Memorial under your tutelage. Can you tell us what's been the steepest learning curve so far in your first year at the high school level?
It's basically learning all the nuances of being a head coach, the paperwork, the working with the athletic department in the school as far as getting permits and things lined up that you want to do. And we formed a new gridiron club, our Spartan Gridiron Club, and getting that going and working with the youth program. So it's been a whirlwind. I knew it would be a lot of work and a lot of time coming in, but until you're really involved in it, you really don't know. So it's been a big learning curve, but it's been exciting going through it, and so far so good.
And with that, you guys are in the Big 8 Conference. You're 4 games in. What have you seen so far out of the conference? What are maybe some of your expectations going forward? Who are some of the big players that Memorial's up against?
Well, we have West coming up, week 5, big rivalry game. The same side of town. We share the stadium, so it's a big game for us, and we're looking to keep the ball rolling. We're 2-2, and really feel that we could have been better, but focusing on what we can get better at and ourselves, and executing our game plans, and going about business and taking care of just things that we can take care of. The Big 8 is great parity this year, and any team on down the line here can win it. I know Middleton's in the driver's seat, so to speak, but we like to think that we're in the car with them and have a chance still have a chance at being conference champions.
And you got a big matchup. You talked about it a little bit coming up for the Burt Havel clipboard. Is that add any extra pressure to the student athletes, any more on you, or is it just kind of something fun for the kids to get jacked up and look forward to?
I just think it's something for the kids to get jacked up to. I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit, but we're really focused on getting better each day, each game, every opportunity we get. And it's going to be a challenge. West is 0-4, but they're not a real 0-4 team, and we're not taking them lightly at all. They've been in every single game. They have great athletes, and they're coached well, and we look forward to the opportunity.
Now, for casual football fans, obviously they can see a lot of football here on CW. NFL season ready, kickoff, Badgers are underway. But why should a casual football fan come out and attend a high school game, especially a Madison Memorial high school football game?
I just think the atmosphere. I mean, it's great atmosphere, the energy. You got the bands and the cheerleaders and student body, doing crazy things and having, nights that, special nights, that, whether it be a whiteout or a cowboy night, whatever, just, dressing up and having fun. And it's a good brand of football, and go out and support your high school area, football teams, they love it. They get a lot of energy out of the crowds, and it's just a fun time. And it doesn't really cost anything. I mean, a couple bucks, a couple bucks to get in, a couple bucks at the concession stand, and you're supporting high school athletics, and it's a great thing.
So it does go to a great cause, obviously. Something you folks might not know, Adam is actually the first guest that ever appeared on the Sports News, so we want to thank him for stopping back here today. Thanks, Coach Smith.
Well, thanks for having me again. Appreciate it.
We'll be back. That is head football coach of Madison Memorial, Adam Smith. We'll be back with more of the Sports News in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to the Sports News here on CW57. I'd love to welcome back Coach Steve Arado from Madison East. Steve, how are you doing today?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
So give us an update. How's the team doing so far this season?
Well, we're off to a good start. We're 3-1, playing well. Got a big win last week against Janesville Craig, 42-41. Drove the ball down the last minute to win it, and very good for our kids, good for our program. Playing well. We're real happy with our performance so far.
So off to a good start. Who do we have looking forward to next week?
We go back down to Janesville to play Janesville Parker. So another very good team, tough team on our schedule, big physical team. So we got to play our best.
Traveling to Janesville back-to-back weeks.
Yes, it's fun. We'll see what happens.
Okay, now what's been maybe some of the keys to success? When we talked to you a little bit earlier, you were obviously optimistic for the season, but you guys are off to a fantastic start that maybe a lot of people didn't see coming. What's the keys to that this year?
We have good kids. When we started building the program 4 years ago, we started with our lower levels and keep them all together, and they've come up to the varsity level, and that's helped us. High character kids that stay out of trouble and do things right, and that's helping us win. And we're playing well offensively, and we're getting enough from our defense to hold teams down, and they're getting us the ball back enough, and we're being successful that way.
Right. Well, as far as the rest of the season is concerned, what are your goals?
1-0 every week. That's always our goal. Every game is tough in our league. Every game counts because you play all conference games. So we just focus on each game each week and just try to go 1-0 and not look ahead.
Now, 3-0 or 3-1 so far. What are some of the bright spots of the team? Maybe some kids that are really stepping up, or some plays that might have just kind of dug you guys out. What's some things that stood out to you on the season thus far?
Well, offensively, we're playing really well. I think we lead the league in offense, total offense. We average about 500 yards a game, and I think statistically we've got a running back who leads the state in yards and receiver who leads the state in touchdowns. And we're coming together, and that's great. We unfortunately lost our starting quarterback for the year, and we were able to put in another backup and haven't really missed a beat, so that's positive. And our defense is really playing well. They've gotten us the ball back when we needed the ball back, and they've held some teams down, and we've been able to capitalize on some mistakes other teams are making. And
you touched on it a little bit earlier, but keeping those kids together, starting them young and coming through, how are freshmen, JV, and those younger tier teams doing as they're preparing to play varsity for you in the future?
This year's freshman team, I believe, is 2-1, and our with the scrimmage being first, and our JVs are 2-2. Very competitive, playing well, and we just try to get them winning at the lower levels and staying together, and that's been kind of the key to our success this year.
So that key to success, and you are off to that fantastic start. So we want to wish you guys the best of luck for the rest of the season, and make sure you come back soon and let us know how Madison East's doing.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. We are very happy to welcome back Scott Merkus of Sauk Prairie High School football. How you doing?
Pretty good this morning. Looking forward to the Packers and Bears this afternoon, and looking forward to the right team winning.
There you go. Well, thanks for joining us once again. And looking at about the halfway point of the season, maybe a little bit less, how is Sauk Prairie doing?
Right now we're progressing about how I thought we'd be at this point of the year. We've taken on some good competition in Oregon, Wanakee, and just trying to get better every week. Got the first win against Portage on Friday night. We've got some things to improve on, but overall I'd say we're about where we should be, and looking to improve even more as we go on through the year.
Now, mention improving. What are maybe some things or just little things that you guys can improve on to just keep climbing that ladder?
Well, offensively, we've got to get better throwing the ball. Austin Powell and our offensive line have run the ball effectively, really 3 out of 4 weeks, and they're getting better every week, but we've got to become a more consistent passing team. Defensively, we've got to make sure that we're continue to improve defending the run, but we've got to improve on defending the pass as well. So the passing game in high school, kind of can make or break you, and right now on both sides of the ball, we've got to take care of being more sound and getting those things shored up for the rest of the year.
So improving on that passing game. So would a strength so far probably be your running game offensively then?
Absolutely. Our offensive line has been blocking consistently well, throughout the year, and Austin Powell has been kind of the bell cow for the offense at this point. But we've got to become much more two-dimensional, for the rest of the run throughout the year.
As we're looking at it, how is the Badger North shaping up? Who are maybe some of the players on top, and where are you guys sitting?
Well, I definitely think the Big Four have come to be as good as advertised. DeForest is, I think, a little bit more explosive offensively than what they have been in the past, and that's going to present a big challenge for us on Friday night. Reedsburg is well-rounded on both sides of the ball. Defensively, they hold teams down to a minimum of yards and points, and Wanakee is, they've been outstanding. It's probably the best team I've seen Coach Rice have up there in the time that I've been watching. And Mount Horeb-Barneveld is going to be outstanding with Mailer at quarterback running the show, and they'll be better at the end of the year than they are at the beginning.
Now, with about half the season left to go, what are the goals? What are some things you guys can still accomplish as a team?
Our guys have set the goal of being playoff eligible, which every team right now that has a win or in conference or even not, at this point you're still alive. So that's first and foremost, that's the goal on the table. But for this week it's to get after DeForest and give them all they can handle and see what Friday night brings.
Fantastic. Well, we want to wish you guys the best of luck. And Scott, thank you for joining us once again on the Sports News.
Thanks very much. Appreciate being here.
Scott Marcus of the Sauk Prairie football team. Want to wish them the best of luck. We'll be back with more of the Sports News in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now we're joined by head swim coach for McFarland, Nick Weiss. Nick, thanks for joining us here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Give us a bit of the breakdown of some of the things that McFarland swim team has accomplished the last several years. I've heard they've been very successful.
Yeah, we've had a lot of success with the boys and the girls team. When I initially started coaching, it was just with the high school boys team. I was the assistant for 3 years and we were very successful. We had some top 3 and 4 state finishes. And then in my first 6 years as the head coach for the boys swim team, we were state champions. In the 3 years since then, we've also had 2 runner-up finishes. As far as the girls team, I took that over 4 years ago. The first year we only had 1 state qualifier, but since then we've been in the top 10, including 2 top 4 finishes the last 2 years.
Wow. Now, what's something you can attribute that success to? Those are, to be honest, those are really staggering numbers.
I think it's just the culture of swimming in McFarland. I'm a McFarland Swimming alumni myself from the class of '99. I was very blessed to have great swim coaches and a lot of people that supported me in the community. And I never planned on being that guy that came back to coach its old high school team, but I kind of fell into that role and I totally love it, and I just can't see myself coaching anywhere else.
Now, you mentioned the community involvement and the culture of swimming. A lot of people come out to swim meets, or how does the community kind of play a role in that?
Yeah, we do. We do have a big crowd that comes out to meets. There are a lot of other activities that go on. Typically there's volleyball games, football, basketball, whatever. But a lot of people do come out. Our band directors really support us. The pep band shows up to some of our swim meets. A lot of the club swimmers show up, and even some of our just random morning lap swimmers show up to watch. I think when you have a successful team, that helps, and when you have the kids involved in the community too, there's a connection there, and they want to see what the swim team is doing.
Now, what about, as you're looking forward, some of the expectations for the boys and girls team this year?
The girls team, we're starting our 6th week. We're off to a really great start. We've been breaking team records. We've broken pool records in some different places we're going. And after 2 4th place finishes at the state meet, our girls are really looking forward to improving that. A title or a runner-up may not be in the cards this year, but we're just looking to improve on that 4th place finish and just see what we can do. As for the boys, we've had 2 runners-up finishes in a row, and something like that would be incredible again. But really my goal for both teams is a top 10 finish every single year, and just to be part of the conversation when people are talking about the best swim teams in Division II.
Now, when you're looking at the conference, you guys are in the Badger Conference. Who are some of the teams that are really competitive teams you might have to watch out for?
We're in the Badger South Conference for the girls team, and Madison Edgewood is always good. We took a close second to them last year, and they ended up being the state runners-up. This year looks pretty similar. We saw them at the Badger South Conference relay meet a couple weeks ago. We won more events, but they won the overall meet, so we're both really high-quality teams. Monona Grove is also in our conference. They're good. Monroe, New Glarus, Oregon, Stoughton, Milton, all have really good teams. As far as the boys, we're in the Badger North Conference, Wanakee, Baraboo, DeForest, all very good teams as well. So we really see some of the best teams in Division II on a weekly basis, and I think that contributes to our success.
Fantastic. Well, we want to wish you guys good luck. Nick, thanks for joining us here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now we're joined by Jeff Shmuel, race car driver. He races up at the Dodge County Fairgrounds Speedway, among other tracks over the summer. Jeff, thanks for joining us here today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Ryan.
So talk to us a little bit about some of the upcoming events at the fairgrounds. I understand there's still a couple races left on the schedule.
Yeah, actually the 30th of August will be our final points night for our IMCA divisions, and we're going to be joined by the Dirt Devil class. It's a 4-cylinder car, pretty much bringing it off the street, put a roll cage in, so we look forward to having them.
Fantastic, that's exciting stuff. That's kind of cheaper entry-level racing for people trying to get in the sport, right?
Yeah, and there's quite a few of them out there, so we should have a pretty big car count for them.
Now for you, how's this season gone so far?
We've had kind of ups and downs, but for the most part it's gone pretty well. We've had 5 feature wins, 2 out at the fairgrounds, and we're leading points out there with 1 night to go.
Fantastic. Now, one of the unique things that goes on up at the Fairground Speedway in Dodge County is how much interaction that fans can have with the drivers and getting a chance to meet them, whether it's pit tours that they do with the kids or fan events. And we understand there was a fan event a couple weeks ago where you had was it about a 3-foot tall Superman doll you gave away to a member of the kids club?
Yes, I did, because we're kind of known for being the Superman car on the track, so that was for Fan Appreciation Night. We gave away that Superman doll. It was pretty cool. Fantastic
stuff. Now, what about wins, season stats? Where are you at in points? I understand you said you're in the lead. How many wins have you had? How does that translate?
Per night, the most points we can gain is 40 points a night, and so far I've won 2 features, and we're currently leading by 4 points with 1 night to go, so we need to have a good, strong finish that last night.
All right. Now, what is the history of the Speedway? We know the Dodge County Fairgrounds. We've talked to some people from there so far this season. They haven't had racing a lot in the past, but it does have a rich history. Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, there was quite a few years that there was no racing out there besides a couple special events per year, and this is the first year we brought it back full time. I grew up out there watching a lot of dirt track racing every weekend, so a lot of history for me and watching a lot of drivers out there.
I was right there with you growing up. Now, tell us a little bit we want to make sure we have a chance to thank your sponsors, find out what maybe your future plans are at the track.
Yeah, I'd like to, huge thanks to my sponsors this year, go out to Hammerhead International out of Las Vegas, Nevada, the Dump of Cambria. I've got The Hill, Johnny's Lounge, Tim Patrick Transmission and Auto, Ready Lock, and S&S Lawn Care, and Vic's Auto out of Horicon. And huge Ultimate Race Cars, which is my brand new car for this year.
That's a fast car. I had a chance to see that on and off this year as well. Jeff, thanks for joining us here on the Sports News today.
Thank you.
Jeff Shmuel, race car driver for the Dodge County Speedway Association. You can check them out coming up this Sunday night, final points night. So look forward to that. We'll be back with more of the Sports News in just a moment. Thank you all for tuning into the Sports News this week. We want to thank our good friends at the Red Zone for helping us put this production on. We also want to thank all of our friends for stopping by and letting us know what's going on in sports right here in the Madison community. You can tweet the show using hashtag TSNCW57 or tweet me directly using @Ash41. While we have a moment, I want to say congratulations to all of the Ironman competitors over the weekend right here in Madison that competed and finished the race, especially a good friend of mine and friend of the show, Ryan Johnson. Congratulations, buddy. We're really proud of you. Stay tuned all week long for more great local programming here on CW57. Until next time, my name's Ryan Asher, getting you in the game.